Hi, I'm Perry Winter, Vice President of Winter's Meat, and I'd like to give you the history of Winter's Meat. Winter's Meat was started by my mom and dad, John and Berta Winter. They were both immigrants from Europe. My dad was born in Lowice, Poland. My mom was born in Garmisch, Germany. My father's family had a family business, a meat processing plant in Lowice, Poland. That's how he got his experience of being a butcher. He had only a third grade education, and back then, working for the family business was more than an education, and by the time he was 18 years old, he was already a master butcher. Well, the Army migrated eventually up to Garmisch, Germany. That's where he met my mom, and they got married in 1949. In 1951, my brother was born, and the U.S. Army set my dad up in a meat market in Garmisch, Germany. But it was very hard to make a living over there because nobody had any money, and nobody had any cattle or hogs, and it was hard to make a living. So they convinced him to come to the United States. In 1952, he came to the United States and ended up in Kansas City, Missouri. Well, in 1955, I was born. He eventually came to Kansas City, Missouri, and that was a hub of the slaughterhouses and the meat processing plants. That's when we had every major brand company over here. My dad ended up working for Wilson Meat Company for 14 years. And he was such a good butcher, they pretty much had him working everywhere through the whole plant whenever they needed somebody. He was the one that they took to do whatever needed to be done because he could do everything on the plant. And after 14 years, my dad bought Winter's Meat. It used to be called Arnold's Meat Company in 1967. The old plant was originally on 11th Street, and it was a metal building that was kind of pieced together. Nothing was on the same level. It was kind of a disarray of a place in a lot of ways, but at the time being, it was fine for what we were doing. In 1970, the state of Missouri said that all the meat processing plants had to have state inspection. Well, that lasted about a year until the state inspection bureau, they went bankrupt, and we went to USDA. Well, the plant was not USDA approved at the time, and they gave us a year to either make improvements to our current plant or to build another one. So my dad decided to build another plant in 1972. And back then, we only built the slaughterhouse and the coolers and the processing room. In 1974, we added the additional front part of our building for the smokehouse and where our store and everything else is, right? In the early 80s, the retail chains started coming out, Price Chopper, Safeway, United Supers. They started building stores, and every time they build a store, they cut our retail business in half. By the time it hit around 1989, 1990, we were doing virtually no business in the retail area, and we decided to shut her down. And that was the same time my dad died in December of 1990. After my dad died in 1990, me and my brother decided we would concentrate on our processing, and we did a lot of different work for other people. We did a lot of custom work for other companies. We started butchering for other companies. And another thing too, deer season became really a big hit then. Back then, the deer season back in the 80s, early 80s stuff, there wasn't very much going on, but eventually deer season became a very big hit, and so we did a lot of deer during that time. And then our processing got a lot better. We kind of changed our process from being a retail establishment into a more butchering and processing establishment, and doing a lot of work for other companies and other people. Another thing that came to be was our party pigs. We started back in that area too, and that became a very big hit too. Back in about 2000, my mom, she decided to retire, and then pretty much the whole operation was left up to me and my brother. We hired my brother-in-law, John Beck, who is still currently with us, and then we eventually hired my son, Jeremy, to help us in the operations of the plant. In 2007, my mom died, and then pretty much the whole plant was me and my brothers to take care of. Now, slowly and surely over the years, the meat processing and the meat industry has kind of changed because now people are more interested in more natural meats, where it's butchered, how it's taken care of. They're more concerned about stuff like that. And over the years, our retail has kind of got better. Our processing has still got better, and we are still butchering quite a few pit hogs. Unfortunately, deer season the last 3 or 4 years, ever since the retail prices have gone down, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that can't afford to go deer hunting, and a lot of our customers were construction people. Currently, we are trying to have a makeover to where people now can have a choice between store-bought meat and places like us that actually butcher and process our own meat. We have a good idea where everything comes from. We take care of it personally ourselves. We know that everything's done under USDA, done in a very clean and sanitary manner. People now today are more concerned about where the meat comes from and how it's taken care of and how it's handled. And that's where we come in. We know exactly what we're giving our customers. We know exactly how it's handled, and we know exactly what type of quality we're giving you. And that is currently where Winters Meat is today. We are now a retail establishment. We are a wholesale establishment. We butcher and process, and we will continue to do you the best job that we possibly can. I appreciate you guys listening to this. Thank you very much.